6, where I am in the northeastern part of the United States. This is Prophecy for Now. My name is Tanya. I am a servant of the Lord. And this day reminds me of earlier in public ministry. I started in 2022. Uh, the Lord used me like kind of like authentically. So like if I was having a moment of worship and I was crying, I would make a video, like intentionally make this video while I was crying, right? Because just to show like a real walk, right? We call the disciple people, so we call to show them like what's real about this walk, right? So at the end of the video, I'm going to be even more transparent than I have been, believe it or not, in this ministry. Welcome to those who are here for the first time. um, I'm happy that you're going to stop by. And for those who are returning, I'm praying that the Lord has something for you. He does. If you stop by, He has something for you, right? So He's faithful like that. He's faithful like that. So, yeah, so this is one of those days I don't know if you can tell, but I have been crying. And oh my goodness, guys, I think what happens a lot is that when people are used by the Lord to minister, they usually show up at their best or feeling their best, or maybe not. Some people don't, but they push through, and we don't really see behind the scenes. We don't always see just how much we cry. We don't always see that pain, right? Because He has us be very strong. So people don't really see it. And then who really wants to show up like that? So you don't want to publicly express your pain like that. Most people don't really want to do that. Maybe some people do. I know for me, I don't particularly want to do that, right? But it's good, right? It's good. It's good. So like I said, towards the end, I'll be more transparent, right? But for now, um, this is part of the stand message that I gave. I believe it started last Sunday. I was supposed to come back during the week and talk about this part I'm talking about today, but the Lord had me do another video yesterday. So here it is for people who may have been wanting to see stand part 2, the stand message part 2, right? So what day was this? Let me see if I have a day. I don't know what day this was. I wrote this on somewhere around May 5th or 6th or something like that, earlier this month. I had an assignment. I went to a job, and um it was an unusual day for me, right? It was a day I had never experienced before, actually, right? And so I was walking and I saw a crossing guard. This is how it kind of started, right? I saw this crossing guard. And it happened to be a beautiful day, and he looked friendly, so I said it was a beautiful day. And he said, "This is the day that the Lord has made." And then I said, and we will be glad and rejoice in it, right? And I threw up my hands in praise in the street, right? Right. So okay, so that was like before I entered my job, right? This happened, right? So then throughout the day, I saw people, right? Hello from Italy. Are you serious? Wow, I went to Italy once. That was my first and only trip to Europe, actually, in Rome. So if you don't mind saying where you're from in Italy, thank you for being here, Constantine. I gotta put my glasses on to see. Pinzaras. Okay. If you won't mind saying where you're from in Italy, you don't have to if you don't want to, okay? Um, okay. Okay, I'm not familiar with that. Okay, I'm gonna look that up later. Oh my goodness, thank you for being here. Thank you, thank you. So, yeah, so this is how the day. So throughout the day, I had been seeing people, and one lady I saw, she looked like a Christian, right? And this is no offense, right? But the reason why I thought she was a Christian, she had a look, right? Because she had on a long skirt, very conservative dress, nicely dressed, but her shoes were like, they were kind of dated, like they looked like some dated church shoes, right? Right? No offense, right? But I think you guys, if you know what I'm talking about, you may kind of know what I'm saying, right? So then I saw her, and then I saw another lady, and this lady had, to me, she didn't look like a Christian. She had these nose rings, and then she also had the stretched ear. She had that. So she didn't look like a Christian, right? To me, right? Right, we have these kind of stereotypes, right? So anyway, lo and behold, when I went to lunch, uh, they both were there, and another man was there, and it turned out that we all were Christians, right? So when I got to the lunchroom, they were there, they were sitting there, they were quietly eating, and no one was speaking to each other, right? So then I said how thankful I was for the free pizza because the job had offered free pizza, a salad, and soda. And on this particular day, I didn't really have that much to bring for lunch. I had like a boiled egg. So I was very thankful for this full meal that I was eating. So when I said that, that kind of broke the ice, and everyone was talking. They were very happy as well to get this free meal because it was unexpected, right? So we started talking. It turns out, and I was like, this has never happened to me, right? And I felt I've been feeling alone in my walk because of the stance I have, because of these things I'm saying that a lot of people don't really believe or want to believe. So sometimes I've been feeling like, am I the only one that knows this stuff, what's going on here in terms of God's judgment and what's going on in the earth here? And when you go to church, maybe you're around like-minded people, and maybe um other people know the same thing. But for me, I've been a little on the isolated side. The Lord has had me like that, right? This is like what He's done. And it was so refreshing for us all. We were all on the same page with the conversations we were having. And it was an assembling, but it was not in like a designated place of worship. And this is something that we could do. For those of you who may not have a church home, like I don't have a church home at this particular moment, the Lord Himself will send people to you, right? I had church all day in a place of work, right? And this, like I said, this has never happened where there's so many Christians. And when I say so many, there was another lady that came in. I knew she was a Christian based on what she had said a little earlier. And she she was kind of hypersensitive. Like, sometimes we're like that. She didn't really want to sit around people, right? And something was going on in her spirit. So she was hypersensitive. And then who else was there? Yeah, she didn't want to eat with anyone, but she was a really friendly lady. I had already seen her friendliness, but something was going on with her. And yeah, so the brother that was there, because it was women and one guy. So let me tell you where they were from, right? And before I do that, hi, other people are saying hi. Thank you so much. I don't want to miss anyone. Yeah, I don't know. My goodness, I need my moderator now because some of this stuff doesn't really seem related. I have no idea what this is. And Just try to ignore the things that are kind of not related, guys. Okay, we can do that, right? I think we can do that. But Emerson VR8 and Red Turtle 027, thank you guys for being here. Okay, and this other Tyler, so I don't know. Any case, guys, we can ignore stuff, right? I know I can. Okay, so any case, so the Christians that were there, right? We were all talking. So one lady, she was from Haiti, another lady was from Guyana, and the brother he was from I can't remember if his mother or father, I don't know if he even said, but Ivory Coast and Jamaica. So one of his parents was from Ivory Coast and one was from Jamaica, right? And then I am from Brooklyn, New York, in the United States. That's where I was born and raised. And I live in New Jersey, the state of New Jersey right now, right? So in any case, we were talking about, I mean, these end times and stuff, right? We were talking about the times that we're in and what is to come and to be prepared and stuff like that, right? And the brother was talking about there was inexpensive land in Ghana and how, the African countries are welcoming people, right? So somebody catch that in the spirit. You already know, right? You already know what I'm talking about, right? We're not going to spell out everything, right? Right? We're not going to catch. So in any case, so the brother also mentioned that he had a dream. I don't know if he said when the dream was. I think maybe last year. And in this dream, it was him, his mom, and his sister. The mom like kind of disappeared. She was taken up, and him and his sister were left behind. So I shared with him whatever I was reading that morning in the Bible, it was related to that, something in Mark. I can't remember exactly where. But he said that dream, it kind of shook him up. He said he threw away all his liquor bottles and stuff, so I guess he was a drinker. He knew he was supposed to get rid of that stuff, throw that stuff away, because he had a knowing of what that dream meant. And he also said that he had been watching some prophets on YouTube. So be encouraged for those of you who are standing on the truth and telling people the truth. People know. They may not respond, they may not tell you and be in agreement with you, but he said that he had been seeing people and he knew that they were speaking to him. When they were rebuking and when they were giving warnings, he knew. Right? Our labor is not in vain, guys. People know. Because I just was thinking maybe people really don't know and they're not getting it. Everybody know by now. Everybody know. Okay? And if you don't, stick around. Stick with this ministry. You need to know what the Lord is doing on this earth. Okay? Now, let me see if I want to see anything else about that. Because I wrote notes and this was May 6th. So I don't remember everything, guys. I kind of went over it briefly before, starting the video. But sometimes I forget some points. So I'm just looking at my notes. Yeah, so it was just a beautiful day because we sat together, we fellowship, we were eating lunch together. And this is like the Lord put this together. So there were like, how many of us? 1, 2, 3, 4 in a workplace. I have not experienced that in a workplace before. So that was really encouraging to me. And we had church. And we were all blessed on that day. We were all blessed to be together assembly, right? So that's encouragement for people who, you don't have a church home right now. There's other ways to fellowship, right? Because where 2 or 3 are gathered, he is in the midst, right? So that's church. Okay. And sometimes, guys, right, you can be in a particular church and you don't even get back what I got on that day. You walk out not even feeling connected. Right? You just walk out and I was talking to the Lord earlier about the word, right? Because some people, it seems that they just go to church for the word. But you should already be filled up with the word when you go to church, right? You should be reading the Bible daily, getting your daily bread, right? So, yes, yes, yes. The word is important, but there's other things too. That's not the only reason why we assemble. Okay? Some people they don't want to worship in song. That is a big part of you. That's a part of worship, right? That's a part of your relationship with the Lord, worshiping in church and outside of church, not just in church, right? In the church building, I should say, not just there, right? This is something that strengthens your relationship with the Lord. Okay. Mauricio Alvarez, thank you for being here. Do you have a BF? Does that mean best friend? And don't make if you make jokes, come on now, be serious. I know people be joking around on here. If that means best friend, does that mean best friend? Oh, you already know. Y'all should already know who my best friend is. Do I even have to say who my best friend is? Jesus. A boyfriend. I do not have a boyfriend, but stick around to the end of the video and I'm going to be transparent about something that sounds like that, right? Boyfriend. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know it means boyfriend. Okay, somebody else said hi. 334 big goal. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for stopping by, okay? Relax. Hear the word. So yeah, so that was oh, let me go to the word. Let me actually go to the word. How old are you? Mauricio, how old are you? Let's see how old you are. And then maybe I'll answer, maybe I won't. Okay, so we're going to go to Luke chapter 17. Now, guys, read the Bible version that you feel the Lord is leading you to read, or that maybe you understand it better, or there's so many different versions. Ask Holy Ghost, what version do you want me to read? Okay? And for me personally, I've read so many different versions, right? At different times. Even in ministry, I'll use different versions. But lately, I have been using the Orthodox Study Bible. I've been using this Bible, which is different. It's different from um, some other versions, right? But if you don't feel comfortable, if the Lord is not leading you, read what the version you like. Okay, but that's where I'm reading from. Okay, so Mauricio said he is 35. Okay. All right, God bless you. So I'll tell you my age. I did say it in another video. And this is something that I wasn't in the past. I didn't really like to share it, right? It would depend on the circumstance. But I am 57 years old. And I usually get a response. People think I'm younger, but I am 57 years old. And guess what? I'll mention this. My God ordained spouse that I believe the Lord said is my spouse, he's actually younger. He's like 12 years younger than me. Okay, so ladies, some of you, if you're standing for a spouse, he may actually be, well, if the God has somebody for you, he may actually not be your age. He may be younger, right? And maybe that's why the Lord kind of preserved me to look younger too, because he's younger. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure, right? But in any case, um, thank you for asking the question. All of these questions are valid, guys, okay? Feel free because the Lord uses everything, right? He uses everything. It's part of his story, right? And you are part of his story. For being here, you are part of this story, right? You're part of this ministry. You're participating. So thank you again, okay? Now, let's go to the word. So when the brother had the dream. Now, sometimes, guys, when you have a dream, I have an adult son. When you have a dream, sometimes that dream there'll be a scripture related to that dream, and you'll know it's from God because of what you're seeing in the dream. So some of you may be familiar, some may not be familiar with the rapture, right? But we're going to read about that because that's what the guy dreamed. He was left, him and his sister were left behind, and the mother was taken up. Okay, so let's go to. Do you have kids, Mauricio? Do you have kids? Okay, so don't answer now. Listen to the word. Because we're going to read now. We want to be focused on this, okay? I don't know. But let's focus, right? Let's focus. It's good to participate, but let's focus on the word right now, all right? So Luke 17, starting at verse 22. Then he said to the disciples, the days will come when you will desire to see one of the days of the Son of Man, and you will not see it. And they will say to you, look here or look there. Do not go after them or follow them. For as the lightning that flashes out of one part under heaven shines to the other part under heaven, so also the Son of Man will be in his day. But first he must suffer many things and be rejected by this generation. And as it was in the days of Noah, so it will be also in the days of the Son of Man. They ate, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark and the flood came and destroyed them all. Likewise, as it was also in the days of Lot. They ate, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they built. But on the day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Even so will it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. In that day, he who is on the housetop and his goods are in the house, let him not come down to take them away. And likewise, the one who is in the field, let him not turn back. Remember Lot's wife. Whoever seeks to save his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life will preserve it. I tell you, in that night there will be two men in one bed. The one will be taken and the other will be left. Two women will be grinding together. The one will be taken and the other left. Two men will be in the field. The one will be taken and the other left. And they answered and said to him, where, Lord? So he said to them, wherever the body is, there the eagles will be gathered together. Okay, so as I was reading this, guys, I I thought of the message that the Lord wants me to give in terms of transparency, right? And when it said that people were kind of just living their lives like regular, not being prepared, like in the days of Noah, not believing that he was coming, right? That there would be destruction, not believing. And they were just going about their lives just like everything was just usual, right? Everything was what they were eating and drinking and marrying and doing all these things. And I thought about what I saw today. I'll start talking. I'll probably be going back and forth with the word and with this, right? So, for those who may not know, all right, so Mauricio, don't be rude, okay? Because your words, the Lord hears and sees everything. And you under his judgment right now for saying that, okay? Don't do that. If you're bored, you can leave. Nobody's asking you to stay. Nobody even really invited you, right? But I believe the Lord wants you here because, he sends. All right? Okay, sorry. Okay. All right? Because I've been very polite to you. I've been answering your questions and stuff. Okay, the word is never boring. All right, if you think the word is boring, you're in trouble. You better ask the Lord to give you a fire for the word. Ask him, pray and ask him for that, okay? Because we need that. Okay. So this reminded me of, now if you thought that was boring, maybe this part won't be boring. Right? So I've been standing for who I believe the Lord said is my spouse. So I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna kind of be transparent. I'm gonna be transparent and I'm gonna tell you how this all started many years ago, right? And help me, Holy Ghost, put this in order and make it coherent and just let me say whatever you want to say. If you don't want me to say certain things, please block it in the name of Jesus. Okay, so wait, let me see where I want to go because I'm looking at the word, right? Oh, okay, this is where I want to go. So the person who the Lord said is my spouse is now currently married to someone else. And yesterday I was on Instagram. I don't like to go on to his page because I don't know what I'm going to see, right? Joseph Bible, God bless you too, Joseph. And from time to time, I would go on to kind of see what's being shown there, right? And but I had kind of resolved not to do that because it's not pleasant, it's not pleasant if you uh are believing you're connected to someone and then they're with somebody else. So it's really very difficult, right? And it's something that he's been building me up in this because it's not for the faint of heart, right? So in any case, I was on Instagram. I was looking for some place to get a facial. I want to start doing facials, right? I actually did one at a beauty school. It was like a low rate because it was students doing it or whatever, and I did like it quite a bit. And it's part of my like Esther treatment. If anybody doesn't know about Esther, you got to read Esther. Just in case you don't know about her, how she did these treatments and stuff and these beauty things before she got married and stuff, right? So, in any case, I was on Instagram and I was looking for someone in my area, and I got off of some page, and then this had never happened to me. A video popped up of my kingdom spouse, and it was the two children that are, maybe his children, maybe not. Wow, yeah. But in any case, uh, and I didn't really want to see that, right? I didn't want to see that, and I didn't search for that. I didn't go onto his page. I was like, why did this just come up on my phone? So I asked the Lord. I said, "Did you want me to see that?" Because I didn't want to see it, right? I've just been like, you know what? There are things in my life that I'm doing for my life. I just want to focus on that stuff. And then when he comes, he comes, when it's the appointed time. But in the meantime, it doesn't feel good, right? Because on a lot of different Joseph is asking, how am I do how I am I? This is me saying how I am. On so many different levels, it's very hard because I'm believing God. I know in part, guys. He tells me a lot, but he doesn't tell me everything, right? So I'm like, so many times I question what's real, what's not real. Like, and it's been a lot of warfare, with my faith. But he always brings me back to a place of I would have walked away. I said, just tell me, Father, this is not it. You know how many times I told him, if I'm deceived, if I'm wrong or whatever, just help me. But he always brings me back to a place of standing and believing in what he says. So this is one of those possible things. Like when God says impossible, he means impossible. Like there's no possibility. Like you're not gonna see anything. I don't see anything. Right? So oh my goodness, congratulations. To celebrate 1 year you accepted Jesus. Congratulations. That was the biggest decision, right? To agree with the Lord and believe in him. That is so wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Right? So um yeah, so it's been very difficult, and just being here and being transparent is not easy, right? Because we don't know like who's receiving, who's uh who's here just to mock, you know, who's really receiving anything from the word, people being saved. Well, he did show me people, he showed me some people have been saved from the ministry. um, but yeah, sometimes you feel like maybe this has been in vain, like um sometimes maybe you think nothing's really gonna come of it based on what you're seeing, right? And we're supposed to walk by faith and not by sight, but that's not always easy. So I think that's what the Lord wants us to see, that it's not easy. You see me crying today? This is what this thing is about. It's not going to be easy to trust him all the time, right? Your life was going down here. You subscribe? Okay, thank you. Thank you, brother in the Lord. And you know what? We're both subscribing to the Lord because he is here. So thank you for participating. Thank you for that. That's very encouraging for me, right? And you're a baby in this thing, but you know what I'm saying? The Lord is using people in public ministry. And when I hear of when they got saved, I'm like, whoa, and he's using people very powerfully. And I'm like, they just got saved. Right? So, he can use you. Just stay in your word. The more filled up with the word you are, the more you're going to really be able to be more powerful. Okay. Now, Mauricio, are you being serious? All right, just say what you want to say, Mauricio. All right? You being serious because you may make me laugh or you may make me angry. I'm not sure. Guess what? Guess what? What you going to say, Mauricio? Okay. So anyway, right. So I saw the video yesterday of the family, and but not the family, the kids, and the little girl was saying, "I love you," and he said. So I was like, I just put out a word that kind of contradicts this whole video right now, like, right? Hold on one second. Let me see this. Oh, I hear that. Okay, I'm gonna write that down because see, guys, write that down and go to read that because the Lord is speaking, right? So Isaiah 61. Oh yeah. Wait, is that what this minister is it 60? The Lord has anointed me. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We're gonna go there before this is over. We're gonna go there. Because this is one of the scriptures I think the ministry is based on, actually. Ooh, this is one of the video okay, so I'm gonna go there. Marissa, are you serious? Are you 9 years old using your dad's phone? Are you serious? Because you do sound like you're 9 years old, for real. Look, if you're 9 years old, all right, you're not supposed to be watching adult videos, right? Now, granted, what I'm saying here, this is of the Lord, so it's good, okay? So I wouldn't turn you away, but a trusted adult should know what you're doing on these phones. And if you do not have an adult who is paying attention to what you are watching on your phone, then you're going to have to be mature and kind of grow up really quickly and be very careful about what you watch and who you watch, okay? So I want you to pray pray. Stop. You better not be playing. Well, this is good for even if you're not real, somebody it's good for somebody. Pray and ask the Lord what you can watch, what you cannot watch. And some things you know you're not supposed to be watching. So don't watch them, okay? All right. And you should have a trusted adult. If you don't, oh, because some people, they don't. I'm seeing that. They don't. It's rough out here. These are the last days, guys. These are the last days. These are the last. So, in any case, yeah. So, back to the story, right? Okay, Melvin. Thank you for being here, Melvin. Okay, I look beautiful. Okay, thank you. And I think you're saying you like me. Okay, thank you. That's very nice. That's very kind. Thank you for the kind words, guys, today. Thank you. I appreciate it, right? Um, yeah, so back to this. So I saw the video and then I knew I wasn't looking for it for myself. So I was wondering, I said, God, did you want me to see this? Like, do you just want me to see like what's what? So then I felt led to go to the King of Spouses, his thank you for go to his church, right? So we're gonna talk about well let's before we do that I will say he and his wife attend Christian International Church in Lincoln Park, New Jersey. All right, I'm gonna say name. I'm gonna just tell it all out. This is one of those if I perish moments, right? This is one of those moments for me. If you're an Esther, then you have moments like this. If I perish, right? Okay, so back to the word, because another thing that stood out to me was the scripture. Let's see, where is it now? Okay, where it says, "I tell you, in that night there will be two men in one bed. But the one will be taken and the other will be left." So I questioned the Lord. I said, Lord, why were two men in one bed? Because typically two men are not in the bed together, right? So the only thing he told me is that there are people who may be living as man and wife, but they're both men. And there are a lot of people like this actually, where the man looks very much like a woman, right? To the point where, and the Lord he's confirming this because he gave me a dream recently, well, this week, a few days ago actually, where I think it was a workplace environment, wherever it was, there was who I thought to be a lady. And the lady, well, it was really a man, right? I found out in the dream, they told me, they said, you really can't tell, can you? And I said, no, I couldn't tell. Some people think, oh, they're going to know a man from a woman, but no, not these days. It's a little different. Some people could be, it's apparent, and some people it's not. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Ohio. Okay. Ohio in the house. Okay. I have not been to Ohio. I've been to many states, but I have not been to Ohio. Okay. And where am I from? I am now in New Jersey. That's where I live now, currently in New Jersey. Okay, so the Lord, he just brought that to my attention that, so then my question was, okay, so there are two men together. One is coming with you, so he must have been saved. And then the Lord kind of reminded me too that And some people don't believe this, but I believe it because deception is very high in technology, all these different things, all these new developments and science and stuff. So the Lord showed me that uh there are some men that don't know that their wives are men, right? This is something people may not really want to open up and say when they find out. Because they really didn't know that could just throw them off with their whole identity. But when I read that part with two men in the bed together, this is what the Lord told me. Last days, guys, it's just a lot of stuff going on, right? So everybody is not really open about who they are or worse. Everybody's not open like that. That's why it's so important. You want to know people by the Spirit of God. You want to be praying when you meet someone, when you're interested in someone, and ask God, what does He say about the people? And then be obedient when He tells you, because He may not tell you their secret. He just may tell you, well, just they're not for you. They're not for you. So just take it like that and just obey. Well, you may not know why He's saying that. You know, He doesn't tell everybody's business like that, right? Okay. But guess what? He's going to tell my business right now. And I think He wants me to tell some basics. All right. So, who I believe is my God ordained spouse. We met in, I can't remember exactly. It probably was 2012. But when I started believing he was my spouse, what the Lord was showing me, it was late 2012, early 2013. We both had worked at a luxury retailer in different departments. And we met each other. We both were married at the time. And I had believed, I didn't believe prior to that the Lord would tell you somebody else is your spouse when you're married, right? I didn't know that He would do something like that. But I felt, what's the word? Like He trusted me with the information. Like I felt like, I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say honor. It wasn't like honor, but I just felt like, good that He would trust me with that. And I tried to keep it under wraps because I didn't say anything for a couple of years actually, right? Because what happened was in 2015, both of our marriages were dissolved. So he had gotten divorced, and the man I was married to had died. And this was his divorce, I think, was finalized in maybe September. And the man I was married to, he died in October. So prior to that, look, I had known a few years already. God had already told me. But we were co-workers. We didn't work closely together. We were in different departments. We saw each other in passing. I believe he was just starting. I don't know if he was just starting DJing, but he did DJ at the church that I used to attend, and we had an anniversary, and he was a DJ there. And because I knew he was a DJ, we needed a DJ. So and his name, I'm saying, this is my first time saying all of this stuff, guys. And I think after I say this, I don't think there's anything else I could be transparent about in this message. I don't think so. Because this is just pretty much everything. If I perish, I perish. But his name, when I met him, his name was Donnell Geralds. And he has since changed his name to Tyrone King. He was actually Donnell Tyrone Geralds. He changed his name to Tyrone King at some point. And at some point, let me see, what else I want to say? Anything else about back then? Yeah, so because we were both married, I did not tell him that what I believe the Lord told me until uh 2016 because he had started dating someone, and that kind of like blew my mind because I was like, God, you this is the first time I started having doubt. Didn't you say that was my husband? Like, why is he dating somebody else? So I really started like not believing God because I said, I don't think my husband would date somebody else like that. Right? And not pursue me. So I told him, I reached out to him. At that time he was working at a different location, and we were doing like a some not a text, but we were communicating in that way. It wasn't by voice or whatever. And I told him that I thought that God had said that he was my husband. And the time that I said it, I really at that moment thought that I was just really off. I didn't hear correctly. God probably didn't say that. So that's why I told him, I said, oh my goodness, I have a problem then because I thought God told me that. And he was saying that this woman he was with, oh, this is interesting. He said the woman that he was with, he loved her. They were going to get married, and the people in his church, the leadership, they was in agreement with it. The same church, Christian International Church. I think the pastor is a prophet, or he say he's a prophet. I'm not really sure. So it's when he told me that, then I'm really like, oh my goodness, I've been wrong all this time. But guess what? Him and that girl broke up. It was actually very short lived. They did not get married. And how did I know? Because from time to time I would go on social media to find out what was going on. Right? And that's how I kind of learned about social media. I was not really, prior to that, I was not on social media. Right? I was like a late bloomer with social media. So, time was passing, and I was like, nothing's happening, right? Nothing's happening. He looks like he's single. I saw that he was ministering to men, and he spoke about purity for men. That was one of his ministries. And another one of his ministries, he told me, he had sent me an email, we were emailing, we worked together, and he told me what the Lord had called him to do. And it was related to music, right? It was related to music to let people know that God can use any kind of music. And this did not connect with, I didn't even remember this. It was years after I had been in ministry when I realized the connection because the Lord uses me in the same way. And I didn't even really connect, I didn't really realize that. I was already in the ministry a while before I realized he was using me in that way, right? So, yeah, so in any case, time was passing and we both were being built up and being I guess prepared. The Lord is like, just like with Joseph, right? Joseph, it was so many years before he was in the position that the Lord told him he would be in. And if with everybody, right, it's like you go through a process and you got to be built up and everything to be able to steward what the Lord is going to do. There's a lot. God does so much. I don't even want to say it's one thing that he does, but in any case, so guess what? Fast forward, um, I think I'm trying to remember, guys. This is years ago, right? I think I may have reached out. Yes, I did. Because the woman that he married, I saw that I think I probably saw that he was with her on social media, right? And before this is prior to them getting married. And I reached out. I can't remember what I said, but I felt like whatever his response was, because you know what? I may have told him I don't want him to get hurt again. because he was hurt in that first marriage by that wife cheating on him in a very deceptive, very low kind of way. So he was kind of callous, and I said, well, I guess that's that. That's the end of that. And so I was very determined to move forward. And within days, probably I met somebody. And I was like, oh, maybe this is my husband. Because that person off the back was pursuing me like he was like, yeah, you're my wife. Guys, you have to know for yourself. If somebody tells you, you want to confirm that with the Lord if they say that's your spouse. You got to confirm that, right? You just can't go with it. You have to confirm and take it. The Lord may tell you right away or maybe not right away, but really you want that confirmed. If only one person is saying it, you have to ask the Lord. Either way, whether you believe it or not, ask the Lord. Is this my spouse? Just in case. You never know. You have to ask him. So, in any case, so then I was in a long distance relationship for about a year or whatever, which didn't pan out to anything, right? And guess what? The Lord told me early in that relationship, He showed me, I was praying in the spirit one day, and He showed me that that wasn't the guy. Like he was not for me. He told me that, but in my disobedience, I continued with the relationship. Right? So this is what happens sometimes. We know God is going to tell you. He tells everybody. So in any case, so fast forward to the most recent thing that happened. My son, he's been kind of walking this journey with me, and he reached out to him because he was like, well, this is not making any sense because it's a long time now, and you're supposed to be connected in the spirit, and this and this. And he reached out, I think through Instagram, and it was a text that was sent to my son that denied that we had any kind of, spiritual attachment or anything, and just denied that he that I was his spouse, and he just kind of denied, that was denied. So then I'm like, but the Lord will always bring me back to a place of faith. So I was like, so it's been really difficult, guys. So I was having a moment. I was having a moment earlier. So the Lord wanted me to be transparent about that stuff because I haven't told that part of the story. Oh, did I say his name? Yeah, I did, right? Tyrone King. The wife is Christina B. And if you happen to go on social media, I'm not advising you to do that, but it looks like from social media it doesn't look like anything. It looks like they're gonna be together. That's what it looks like. It looks like a happy family from what you can see on social media. Now the Lord has not told me that. He's told me different, but that's what it looks like on social media. It looks like that they're a married couple with children. So in any case, I just had to let you guys know that part, and just put it all out there. That's his name, Tyrone DJ Ty King. Okay, what does this all mean, guys? I really don't know. I really don't know. But if I perish, I perish. God bless you guys. Thank you for the people who stopped by today. And I think I got everybody. If I didn't, I'm sorry. If I missed you, okay? If I was talking and I missed saying hello to you. God bless you guys. I love you, but God loves you so, 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 so much more.